All right, here we are in the abdomen still. I'll give you a little tour back. Oh, there she is. She's still okay. Going down through her body, what we have dissected so far. Here I am in the abdomen again. And again, I mentioned the liver before. The liver is a big filter in your body and a processor of what you eat. So everything you eat and all your blood goes through your liver. Well, what you eat is in your blood, and then it goes to your liver, and it's packaged and sent to what you need it for. So if you eat protein, it gets packaged here in building blocks and sent to your muscles, right? So all that gets filtered through your liver. That's why people who drink a lot of alcohol, it gets filtered through their liver, and they get a disease called cirrhosis. They're also finding that disease happening in people who eat a lot of fat and unhealthy diets anymore, that the liver just can't handle it, and it becomes fatty and not useful. If I lift up the liver here, pull it towards the head, towards the cranium, this is the stomach. Nice big J-shaped stomach. And it's got some kibbles and bits in it right now. Her last meal's in there. It is coming from the esophagus, which I showed you when we were up in the throat area. The stomach joins the small intestine via this hearty bridge right here. This bridge, you can see it's a little green from bile from the gallbladder. The gallbladder is directly attached to it via some of the cystic ducts. So that bridge right there is called the duodenum, and it is the first portion of the small intestine. Then I work my way down, and I have all of this small intestine. You can see me pulling it through my fingers. Very, very long. The reason for that is we want a lot of surface area in our small intestine because that's where absorption of nutrients and minerals and vitamins occurs. So you can see this long small intestine. It's called small because the diameter of it is smaller. I also want you to note what it's connected by. This is a type of fascia in here. You can see this spiderwebby tissue. And coming from the small intestine are lots of veins and arteries, so that when that small intestine soaks up what you eat and what goes into your stomach, it can go directly to the bloodline, directly to your vascular system, and then sent up via the mesenteric artery to your liver. Again, so this is all interconnected, interwoven, lots of blood and lots of transfer coming from that small intestine. Hopefully by now you remember that the small intestine has those finger-like projections that'll increase the surface area of that organ even more to allow for increased absorption. As I work my way around that small intestine, I come to another juncture in the road. So here's my small intestine. And then here I have this small little organ. I think it looks a little bit like an earthworm's tail, but I am a worm friend. So this guy right here, I have it hooked on my pointer. That's called your cecum. If you were here, I'd be like, hide and seek 'em, find the cecum. And that right there is the start of the large intestine or the colon. You would have a little dingle hanging off of the end of that, and that would be called your appendix. Our cat currently does not have an appendix, not that it was removed, she just never had one. So here we go. Cecum becomes our large intestine, and you can see the difference in diameter from this guy to this guy. Small intestine, large intestine. The other name for the large intestine is the colon, all right? Your large intestine has parts, one ascends, transverse, descending, and then sphygmoid colon down in here. But all you need to know is the colon. Look at that. It's pretty amazing. And then it will come down here and become a holding site called your rectum. Your rectum will expand to a point where then nerves send a signal back to your brain that it's full and you need to go to the bathroom. You can override that signal, but you shouldn't, because then the constipation could take place. Because this guy's main job is to pull water out of your fecal matter. The more water it pulls out, the more dehydrated your poop becomes and the harder it is to pass. If it doesn't pull any water out, you get something called diarrhea, cha-cha-cha. So instead of it pulling water out and putting it back in your cells, all that water goes straight down into the toilet and you become dehydrated. So that's how diarrhea and dehydration work. What causes diarrhea? I don't know, bad food, bacteria, sometimes coffee for people, different things that upset your stomach. So, sometimes real sickness does, and sometimes just your stomach gets upset and that happens. And then everything is evacuated through your anus. So again, the digestion starts up here at the cat's mouth as it pulls things in, goes down through this muscular esophagus through a process called peristalsis as it's pushing downward, always downward, until it gets to your stomach, which is this J-shaped bag. Will have bile introduced to it, and some different pancreatic juices. P.S. Your pancreas, if I dive underneath your stomach, I haven't really dissected this guy out much, is right here. And it's got this interesting texture to it. Looks kind of like a cobblestone road or a sandy beach, and it's pretty big, and it goes all the way over here and actually has attachment to the duodenum so that it can filter and put its pancreatic juices straight into that duodenum, so to further break down that food into usable pieces for your small intestine. This right here, this is your spleen, and we'll talk about him later. Bye.